Hi, I'm Hoas and I'm the Managing Director for Comensura. Companies trust us to deliver a smarter and more efficient way to manage their own contingent, permanent and other sourcing requirements. We work across 130 customers, both in the UK and Australia, and in total we manage around £700 million worth of spend. I've been part of the Impellium family for 16 years now and 10 years at Comensura. I joined many moons ago as a young business development manager, and I've since worked my way sideways and upwards in a variety of different functions, including implementation, supply chain and operations. 16 years, I have to admit, is a hugely long time in any business. I believe that's around 3 times the average UK employment tenure. So you could say I'm 3 times lazier than the average person, or actually there's something about the business that has me absolutely hooked. And I'd say a large part of why I've stayed for so long at Impellium is because I've seen it to be a really inclusive organisation, and one that has actively recognised and supported talent irrespective of someone's gender, class, or kind of any other label we place on people. And so this ethos is also really core in Comensura and the way we do things, and it's something I'm really, really proud of and I firmly actively support. As a child of the 80s and a girl, and one from an ethnic background, I'd say growing up, I think I had a slightly smaller pool of inspirational leaders, or even people on TV who looked like me that I could look up to. So instead, I think I found a lot of inspiration from women who were much closer to home and pushed me at key milestones in my life. One very personal example is at the age of 5, I remember meeting my glamorous great aunt for the first time, and she would swan in from Paris wearing beautiful clothes. And I learnt over time that she was actually an amazing woman, someone who survived both the French and American occupation of Vietnam, learnt 5 languages in order to survive that period, and undoubtedly broke a huge number of taboos at the time by marrying a wonderful French man and running off to France to create a new life. And what she really showed me was women could be supremely fearless, tough, and shatter a few rules in life and society, and do so whilst kind of maintaining their own style and glamour, which was brilliant to see. In my career, I think my first interview at Impellium was a defining moment for me. This was a point in time where I was at a bit of an impasse in my career and trying to decide whether staffing was really the place for me. And I was interviewed by Julia Robertson, a managing director at that time for the business. And I thought Julia's approach was just so refreshingly different to what I'd experienced before, and she had a really, really clear vision for the business based on trust. And I remember thinking to myself, I think I like what I see, so let's give this a go. And I'm really pleased and relieved that that kind of instinct was right in the end. Today, Julia is our global CEO, and Impellium is the world's 2nd largest staffing company, where 57% of the board members are female. So I'm really glad I took that leap of faith and joined the business. My first piece of advice would be, don't be shy to celebrate your differences. In the past, I think I've been very uncomfortable about talking about my journey and my career, and focusing on this from the perspective of a woman and a person of colour. But I've realised by not doing so, in many ways reinforces the status quo and brushes over the fact that some groups have or still do experience disadvantages. And I mentioned earlier in this chat that as a child I felt I had a small pool of inspiring women to really look up to. So it's really important today for female leaders to be uncomfortable and make ourselves more visible to the women and girls behind us. I generally like to unplug from work by doing something active, something that takes me physically away from the home office. So with current restrictions, I'm doing a lot of walking, running, and trying to do some gardening. But in normal times, I love to travel to far-flung places, hike up mountains, and sample lots of weird and wonderful cuisine. And really, to close, my advice would be to never grow up. In many ways, my lack of role models and the naivety of being a kid growing up in the diet of the Goonies and the A-Team gave me the freedom to dream, and my internal little voice simply said, why not? So if there's one thing I'd leave as a takeaway, is that we shouldn't limit ourselves because of our gender. We're now at an age where hopefully we no longer need to adhere to as restrictive traditional social constraints, and an age where opportunities are increasingly available based on ability. So I just say channel that little girl and be willing to believe that you can do and you can rise up to that role. Dream vividly and have the self-belief to follow that dream. And I think that's an essential trait to help you on your journey to become an impactful female leader.